The first tooth didn't scream. It just sat there, nestled in the cold, white porcelain of the sink, looking back at me like a lost pearl. It was a molar, clean, unervingly white, and perfectly intact. I stared at it for a full minute, my toothbrush hovering mid-air. My mind did what all human minds do when faced with the impossible. It lied. It's a pebble, I thought, or a piece of plastic from the plumbing. I reached down and picked it up. It was heavy. It was warm. And on its surface, I saw the distinct, jagged ridges of a human chewing surface. I checked my mouth. I ran my tongue over my gums until they bled, counting 32. No gaps. No pain. I flushed it down the toilet and went to work, feeling the phantom weight of it in my pocket all day. The second tooth arrived on Wednesday, an incisor, sharp like a miniature blade. The third and fourth came on Thursday, twins lying side by side. By the end of the second week, I stopped using the bathroom at night. The air in there had changed. It didn't smell like soap or damp towels anymore. It smelled like a dentist's office, that cloying metallic scent of sterilized steel mixed with the faint underlying rot of infected bone. I kept the door locked, but every morning when I'd steel myself and turn the handle, there they were. 17 teeth. A collection of ivory stones scattered across the sink. Some had long, yellowed roots that looked like reaching fingers. Others were stained with the dark, ancient shadows of decay. I started keeping them in a glass jar on the vanity. I don't know why. Maybe I thought if I gathered enough of them, I could solve the puzzle. I'd spend hours staring at them through the glass, watching the light catch on the enamel. They looked hungry. 2 days ago, I found the 17th tooth. I didn't even need to pick it up to know what it was. My heart stopped. My vision tunneled. Right there, in the center of the crown, was a tiny star-shaped silver filling. I've had that filling since I was 7. I remember the smell of the drill, the taste of the copper, the way the light blinded me as the dentist leaned in. I ran my tongue to the back of my own mouth. The filling was there. I was holding a physical impossibility, a piece of my own body that was currently still inside of me. That was when the clicking started. It wasn't coming from the pipes. It was coming from the jar. A dry, rhythmic snapping like hundreds of tiny insects hitting the glass. I threw the jar into the sink. It shattered. The teeth spilled out, but they didn't just lie there. They began to move. At first, I thought it was a vibration from the old house. But no, they were sliding. Propelled by a thin, translucent film of gray mucus that oozed from the drain, the teeth were navigating the porcelain. They clicked. They snapped. They hummed with a low-frequency vibration that I could feel in the marrow of my own bones. I watched, paralyzed, as they arranged themselves. They weren't just a pile anymore. They were forming a perfect anatomical arc. A wide, mocking semicircle. The sink was growing a mouth. This morning, I woke up before the sun. The house was silent, except for a sound I can only describe as a wet, grinding churn. I didn't want to go in. Every instinct told me to run, to leave the keys on the table and never look back. But the bathroom door was already ajar. I stepped onto the cold tiles. The smell was overpowering now, blood and old calcium. The sink was full. A thick, dark crimson liquid bubbled up from the drain, thick as syrup. And in that pool of blood, the 17 teeth were anchored. They had grown gums, raw red, pulsating tissue that gripped the porcelain like a parasite. And they were moving in a chewing motion, grinding against nothing, waiting. But it wasn't just 17 anymore. I looked in the mirror. My reflection was wrong. My jaw looked hollow, my cheeks sunken. I opened my mouth to scream, and a shower of white fell from my lips. My own teeth were dropping out, one by one, hitting the floor with the sound of hailstones. But I felt no pain, only a terrifying magnetic pull. I looked back at the sink. The mouth was widening. It wasn't just a smile anymore. It was an invitation. 18th tooth, my tooth, snapped into place in the bloody gums of the porcelain. And then another, and another. The sink laughed. A wet, gurgling sound that vibrated through the faucet handles. Almost full, it whispered. Not with a voice, but with the clatter of enamel against enamel. I'm sitting on the floor now. My mouth is an empty, bleeding cave. I can hear the last few teeth clicking in the sink, perfecting the grin. It's a beautiful smile. It's my smile. And soon, when the last one snaps into place, I think the sink will finally be ready to eat the rest of me.